is, running it down on these niggas.
Sex, drugs, money, and murder, my nigga. You know how we get it, my nigga. Still be painting them pictures, my nigga. Ripping that raw and fucking your bitches. Sex, drugs, money, and murder. 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 Niggas, they never gon' hurt you. Niggas, they never will hurt you. Sex, drugs, money, and murder. Sex, drugs, money,
I was
and
trained
murder.
how the trap spot, understand how to get that. Ran down on them niggas with a flip back. Knew I never seen another nigga live like that. I was still getting stacks back. Had to fuck around getting them packs back. Niggas.
What's up, ladies and gentlemen? It's your boy Bullets Gotti back with another one. Good morning, good morning. And my man said good morning. I'm still here. Didn't get a wake-up call from out there. So I'm going to get back to the streets for my lessons. And only live by God's blessings. Good morning. Yo. I don't know what it is, bro. But I'm not going to lie. And this is some real stuff. But I've been feeling like when it comes to West Coast hip hop, I think the game, in my opinion, is the last of the best rappers from the West. You know, after Pac died, West Coast hip hop died. Let's just keep it real. Like on a national standpoint, because like, let's look at it. Snoop went to New Orleans, go rocking with Master P and them, right? He went to the South, right? Dr. Dre went and got Eminem. West Coast rap didn't dominate until The Game came and he dropped the documentary, which changed the game. 5 times platinum, right? He's putting up numbers. Then he came back with Doctor's Advocate, which was another great album, right? I tell anybody, like, Game best work, in my opinion, is Doctor's Advocate, documentary. LAX is not bad. I ain't gonna lie. Like, LAX is not that bad. I think he gave people 3 solid, great albums out of the West Coast. And he was able to put on a lot of West Coast artists. Like, you wouldn't even know about the J-Rocks, the Kendricks, the Nipsey Hussles, if it wasn't for The Game. Working with them early in the game, taking them on the LAX tour, having them open up for him, putting them on, doing mixtape records with them. You know what I'm saying? So he really was instrumental for the new wave in the West Coast. I don't care what nobody say. Without The Game, there is no West Coast hip hop. Seriously, there's no West Coast hip hop. Like, West Coast hip hop, like, and they trying to rewrite the history. You see it with them trying to put Kendrick over The Game. Like, let's keep it real, right? Tupac, in my opinion, even though Pac is not technically born and raised in Cali, he came to California when he was like 17 going on 18 years old. 18, yeah, he was 18. He came to Cali when he was 18 years old, right? A young adult. But he carried the West on his back to the point where once he died, the West Coast hip-hop died. That's how much it shifted. Because if it wasn't for Pac doing records with, you know, the Sebos, the Too Shorts, or Too Short was already known, but really the Sebos, you know, the Drew Downs, the Spice ones, a lot of the artists that from the Bay Area, he was really putting a lot of people on to. You know what I'm saying? And even in the West Coast, you know. So the Macadocious, you know, the Big Sykes and all of them. So Pac was really like giving a wave for the West Coast hip hop. to the world where they didn't know a lot of. If you wasn't from the West, you wouldn't even know who these artists was. He put that engine in it, right? This dude Pac, he could have had anybody on All Eyes on Me. He went and reached out to the Sebos. You know what I'm saying? He reached out to artists that you wouldn't even think he would reach out to work with. Yeah, that's what Game did. So when I look at Kendrick, I say, Kendrick is super overrated. Right? Right now he got the show going on and he's in if I'm not mistaken, he's in Toronto, right? And I always said, like, the Kendrick wave, to me, was manufactured. I feel like they want to rewrite the history because of the situation that happened with the game. Like, it didn't go as what it went. The whole beef that happened. But Kendrick is from Compton, right? And Game is from Compton. Now that I looked at it now, because I never really looked at it before, but I really feel like Kendrick is really the industry's darling. I feel like Kendrick Lamar is really, they want to make him what they wanted to make the Game, right? The Game did what he did. He fell out with, Dre, and he fell out with Jimmy Iovine. So he's not the golden child of Dr. Dre because he was Dr. Dre's artist. And he was from Compton just like Dre. So it's like, well, he messed up the whole situation with G-Unit and he messed up our bag and our money. So let's replace the Game and bring a new face of the West Coast, Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick Lamar could never do what the Game did. I'm sorry. The stage beef, because I really believe that was a manufacture. Like, if you look at the Kendrick, like, and Kanye called it out, but if you look at the Drake and Kendrick issue, that was manufactured, right? That was manufactured by the record labels. That was manufactured by, Universal, to have two artists to go at it because hip-hop is not selling any units. So we got to make money. And to make money, they had to start up a beef. And the beef was, let's get Kendrick, let's get Drake to beef with each other. Knowing that the year 2023, nobody had a number one album, right? People could write revisionist history or act like the Game ain't who he say he is, or front on the Game, how they fronting on him. But the Game did the damn thing, whether people like it or not. Game came in the game and took the West Coast by storm. You understand what I'm saying? Say what you want. The documentary is a classic album. Solid. Front to back. One of my favorites. Fucking Doctor's Advocate coming off of the beef of 50 where people thought it was over for Game. To come out with Doctor's Advocate and do what it did well. The One Blood single wouldn't get far. Like the records that he had that was like, oh, nah, Game not playing. The One Nights, which is one of my favorites off that album. Scream on him with Swiss Beats. Like, he had joints like, damn, Game really. And in my opinion, and I'm going to be honest, Game was able to hold his own with the Titans like Nas. A lot of people can't hold their own being on records with Nas. You know what I'm saying? He really showed that I don't really, like, if Dre not really rocking with me, okay, I could rock with other producers. Kanye, Just Blaze, Knots. You know what I'm saying? High Tech, whoever. I could work with all these different producers and still come out with a solid fire album. And that's what people don't understand. The Game is really like the true definition of an underdog story. The man could rap his ass off, you know? And I think people is trying to rewrite the history because, like I said, his fallout with Jimmy Iovine and Dre, and that they promoting Kendrick the same way they promoted Game. You know, instead of having the blood, the cedar block Paru from Compton, let's get this dude, Kendrick Lamar, he's this poet. Like, they doing everything they did to try to promote him. Like, he's basically the industry version of what they wanted Tupac and what they wanted the Game to be. You know what I'm saying? And that's the reason why they promoting Kendrick the way they promoting him. You know what I mean? If you don't look at it, it's like Kendrick don't have the same appeal that the Game had. I don't care what nobody said. You know, to do what Game did, coming out the gate, and the impact he had just off of the mixtapes and the features. Like, Son was killing the tape. Son was doing the damn thing. Like, Game at the point, he had a crazy buzz. Kendrick didn't really have a crazy buzz. Kendrick buzz came off of basically off of J-Rock, really, because he was J-Rock's hype man. And then he did Hood Gon' Love It, which he had a guest verse on the record. But J-Rock was really the face of the TDE movement. They didn't want to go with a J-Rock because he's a blood. You know, he, you know what I'm saying, kind of reminds them of the Game 2.0. So it's like, nah, we gonna go with this dude and we gonna promote him as the face of California. But if we really look at it, man, like, Kendrick, to me, his rise just always felt oversaturated. And it just always felt like they promoted him to be what they wanted, like I said, Pac and the Game to be. If you look, he got the he got the big co-sign by Dr. Dre, right? Dr. Dre does the first album, right? He executive produced the first album, right? Dre's all over it. They doing the commercials, everything. And I remember, wow, he's doing the same thing. Like, now that I look at it, they promoted him the same. They packaged him the same way they packaged Game. Like, if you go back and you look at the Game's packaging, how he came out, and then you look at Kendrick's debut, or how he came out with Good Kid, Mad City, and you just put that with the documentary, his album was basically a basic ripoff of the documentary. It's a basic ripoff of the documentary. Like, Good Kid, Mad City was a basic ripoff of the documentary. If you really look at that album and you play it front to back and you just listen to it and look at the producers, like, they basically, he's a carbon copy of the Game, you know, mixed with a carbon copy version of Tupac. So he's from Compton. His story is basically how they popped up the Game story. You know what I'm saying? And like I said, all you got to do is just look at Kendrick, look at his success in his career. Just look at it. You know what I'm saying? Look at the people that's standing next to him. You know what I'm saying? He gets the Tupac, you know, they let him do Made Niggas is because who owns the estate? Drake had issues with the Pac estate. But the reason why he had the issues is because you have to look. Son had man, you can't. Yeah, so the Pac estate really, you know, gave the blessings to Kendrick. Why? Because it's all in-house. It's all in-house. And I really didn't look at it that way until I saw the politics of everything. Like how Dr. Dre was kind of like short-answered on when it came to Game and Drink Champs. And Dr. Dre and Game fell out a long time ago. But Game wasn't really lying about Dre. Like, Dre didn't work on his album. If you really look at it, a lot of the beats was done by Dre's, Ghost, and house producers. The majority of documentary. High Tech, Focus, you know, so many. You would think that but Dre didn't work on the project. And I think he only did one beat on it. Was how we do. You know, so Game is technically a better rapper than Kendrick, lyrically. You know, I feel like when the documentary came out, the buzz for that album was crazy. The rollout for that album was crazy. And then when I looked at the Good Kid, Mad City rollout, it was kind of similar to the documentary rollout. Now that I look at it, when I fast forward and I look at a lot of things, I say to myself, wow, a lot of this is really the same thing. It's no difference. And I really believe that they wanted to rewrite the history because they don't want to, they poster child because you got to look, he is their golden boy. Kendrick Lamar is the golden boy for the industry. So they're promoting Kendrick as the messiah of the industry. Like he's this dude that's, you know, bringing hip hop back and all that, but he's really the corporate, you know, juggernaut. You know what I'm saying? He's their guy. But he's really not, you know, he's the face because they made him a face. But it's not like he's the face of hip hop the way people want to say he is. Like when people say he's the face of the West Coast, how can he be the face of the West Coast? I think that's industry terminology. Because I always felt that, like, a lot of people felt like Sean, like people was going at Sean for, but when you look at it, was Sean wrong? You know what I'm saying? It's just like Kendrick was kind of like force-fed on the people. And you starting to see it now that basically he was force-fed. That if you really look at his career in hip-hop, he got so many alley-oops. The co-signed Jimmy Iovine. They got him as the face. They promoting him as the face of West Coast rap. Knowing that he didn't bring the West Coast back. Game did. West Coast on his back. Literally. If people really look at that album and just look what he did with the documentary, he brought the West Coast back from obscurity. You know what I'm saying? And then what that album did worldwide, 5 million copies sold worldwide, was crazy. The documentary. Like, the hype of that album, he was the driving force because there was nobody that was... After Pac died, there was no driving force in the West Coast. After Pac died. You know what I'm saying? Like, he carried on his back. And every artist that the West thought was going to never took it. So the Game was like, he was the golden child. And I think people don't understand that Kendrick, all he did was they repackaged Kendrick. Because remember, Kendrick wasn't rapping conscious when he first came out. He was rapping street shit. They repackaged him, made him this conscious rapper, took this story, Good Kid, Mad City, and basically gave him the same rollout that they gave the Game with documentary. They just tuned it up a little bit. They tweaked it. But it was basically the same rollout. Game hasn't put, like, let's keep it real. Game put out more, pull, and I'm going to keep it real, put on more West Coast artists than Kendrick. Let's keep it real. He put on for the West. Kendrick Lamar has not put on any West Coast artists at all. He only did, when he did GNX, that was the show, oh yeah, I do put on for my, but come on, his career, you've never seen him did what a Game did. You'll never see him do what a Game did. He did that to just say, oh nah, Drake, I do put on for other artists. But he never did that before. If you listen to his first album, not Section 80, but you listen to his first main album on a mainstream level, Good Kid, Mad City. He had nothing but big stars on his album, big collaborations. He's worked like fuck the in-house shit, you know. We understand J-Rock, they all sound on the same label. But he has never did what the Game did where he put on a J-Rock, he put on a Kendrick, he put on a Nipsey Hussle. Man put on the whole L.A. Just the West Coast in general. Kendrick Lamar has you never seen him did that ever. So that just shows you that the Game is really the heart and soul of the West Coast. You know what I'm saying? That people feel like they don't want to put Pac, because Pac is from New York, cool. You know what I'm saying? But if you're doing like after Tupac, I would say like a list of rappers that's still living from the West Coast, the Game is number one. Over Snoop, over Dre, and over Cube. And over Kendrick. Because Game carried the West on his back. Let's keep it real. The West Coast was not popping in the 2000s. Like the early, like after not after Pac died, the West was quiet. Yeah, they had here and there, but they didn't have no motion. The South had the motion. South had the motion. Game came out, 05. He brought the West, he put the West back in the conversation. He put the West back in the conversation. And they know that. That's why Ice Cube and Dr. Dre and Snoop, they all co-signed them, say, yeah, this is the king of the West Coast. Yeah, this is the dude, the Game. The same thing they did with Kendrick is the same thing they did with the Game. That's why I said the repackaging of Kendrick Lamar was basically to make him what they wanted Game to be, and the same as what they wanted Pac to be. You have to look at it. It's coming from the same Interscope Records that signed Tupac, that signed Game. You understand what I'm saying? They want to erase Game history. They can't so much erase Pac history because Pac is a legend. But they want to erase the Game legacy and the Game history from West Coast hip-hop and just put Kendrick as the face, and that's now a cipher. Can't do that. Can't do that. Game carried the West. When you sold 5 million copies worldwide off the documentary, and then do the same thing with Doctor's Advocate, successful album that Doctor's Advocate was, and then to have LAX, that was a good album too. Come on, man. You can't erase that man's legacy. And he did it without Dre. He did it without, the co-sign of 50. When people thought it was over for the Game. So, I feel like they could try to erase Game, but the people know that you can't erase him from the West Coast history. He's in the books. He's in the books. He's in the books. Kendrick hasn't done what the Game did for the West. He didn't bring, like, when Kendrick came out, the West was already in effect. It was already doing its thing in the West, because of the Game. You know what I'm saying? The West wasn't dying. You know what I'm saying? The West was popping. It was succeeding. So when the Kendricks and all these others come out, boom. But like I said, man, they want to try to rewrite history, but you can't. You can't erase Game out the history books. Game is the GOAT of the West Coast. Game is the king of the West. I don't care what nobody say, man. You can't do that. I don't care how much they try to prop up Kendrick, but Kendrick hasn't done what the Game has done. It's edged in stone, man. It's edged in stone. Salute.